What is going on, guys? It is Garfunkel, and we are back with another tutorial to make some better thumbnails. Today we're going to be using Nick A30 as our example, and we're going to be making a thumbnail similar to what he uses. Now I'm going to be using some techniques here that you can kind of take in any direction that you want. All right, it doesn't have to be exactly how he makes them. But they're very simplistic. His design is very simplistic, and he does have two different types of thumbnails. He has one for streaming, and he has one for his actual uploads. And we're gonna focus on the streaming one, which we have a background. You can see he's live right now with 39,000 viewers. What the heck? But he's a blank background, very simple color. He has some text that pops out, and he's got a foreground image. And that's what we're gonna shoot for today. The software we're gonna use in order to build this is a free one, and it's called GIMP. So you're gonna go to gimp.org, click on download, and let it download. You can also use Photoshop if that's what you're into. If you like using Photoshop, by all means do it. And you should be able to use the stuff that we go over with GIMP in Photoshop too. So you can go either way. All right, it's 2019. You can go either way. And such a bad joke. But you're gonna get this when you open up GIMP. All right. You're gonna go to a file, you're gonna hit new. We're gonna make our width 1280, our height by 720. Hit enter, and now we have our canvas. So we're gonna start out with our background. If we go back to his page, we can kind of see his background. It's a little darker up top and a little lighter down low. You don't have to do that. You can make it just a solid blank background, but we're gonna kind of match that, and there's different ways that we can do it. But we're gonna start with just picking our colors. So we're gonna go to blue, find a blue that you want. Again, it's up to you. You're not gonna be wrong. However you do this, you're not gonna be wrong. You can basically pick whatever color you think looks good. I'm gonna go with kind of like that color. So I have two different colors here. I have a darker blue and I have a lighter blue. Now we're gonna hit this gradient tool. See there? And we're gonna kind of go, make sure that you're on your custom design. Boom. And it's basically gonna be a gradient between the two colors that you picked. So you're gonna grab, and click, and drag across. And the more I drag, the darker it'll be up top. It's basically going to shift down. Or if I want to do this, start it up higher. Here, let's hit enter. I can start it out higher, pull. So you can kind of just mess around with that. You can go in different directions. I can go to the side if I want. See how now it's darker on the left, lighter on the right. But you can do a lot of different things with the gradient tool, and I really like it. You can also do different designs if you want to do, or different shapes, I should say. If you want to do a radial, you can kind of start it out here, darker in the middle, lighter on the outside. So I'll leave that up to you. You can pick and choose what you want to do. But we're going to do the text now. So our design looks good, lighter on the bottom, darker up top. Let's go ahead and start with our text files. For Nick, he usually does pro and does player. Pro in a different color that stands out. Player, nice white. Stands out very nicely as well. So we're gonna make it a little different. We're gonna say Nick A30. Obviously you can't see it because it's in blue right now, but we're gonna go to a nice yellow. As you can see, I like the yellow colors in my history here. I think that stands out quite nicely. Let's make the font size a little bit bigger. Play around with this too. 200, say 225. Whoa. 225, and just readjust as you need. I think that's pretty solid. I don't know what I just did. We're gonna hit Command Z. There we go. Now I'm gonna go to my move tool just so I can get it all in to my canvas. And let's go to our next font layer. Thumbnails. There we go. Notice how all the text that I'm using is capitalized. And the font, you can use whatever font you want. I would recommend a big condensed font. I'm using Burbank Big Condensed. But you can go to defont.com and look up any font you want. You can scroll through, you can look for anything. Just download it there free for personal use, and that's it. All right, so just download it, and you're gonna go back to GIMP, change your font here, and pick whatever you downloaded. Okay, so back to what we were doing, we're gonna go to a white here. We're gonna change our size a little bit, maybe 150, maybe 175, maybe 195, a little bigger, maybe 185. Okay, now let's kind of line these up. We want our two text layers to be equal in width. All right, that's kind of the goal of Nick A30's thumbnails, is even though he has a 3-letter word matched up with a 6-letter word, they're both equal in width, which means we have to do the same, obviously. So we're gonna keep sizing her up. We'll do our font again, and now I'm just gonna kind of go up one at a time. That's probably too far, and that looks pretty good. 191. Boom. Move those around. I'll resize this just to kind of fit the layer a little bit better. Do the same with thumbnails, just to resize and make it a little easier for future. Now we'll take a look again at his thumbnails. Even though he has two different colored fonts, you could say two different colored text files, they're both bolded in black. So they're both outlined in black. So we're gonna do the same here. We're gonna highlight our text. We're gonna right click. We're gonna path from text, select up top. From path, select grow. And then we can choose whatever pixel density we wanna grow the selection by. We're just gonna say 5. We're gonna hit OK. We'll take our paint bucket tool. I'm gonna hit our default colors down here on the bottom, which brings our black back. Let's zoom in just for accuracy's sake. And we're just gonna click between the letter and the dotted line there. Any letter that you have or number that has space inside of it, you will have to click again on that space, okay? See how we have blue again between our yellow and our dotted line here? Just gotta click again. Select none, and we good. We're gonna do thumbnails now. We're gonna get our text tool again, highlight. We're gonna do path from text, select from path, select grow by 5 again. That is cool. Paint bucket tool, make sure I'm black. Clicking in between all our spaces, select none. We'll zoom back out. Get our move tool. You can hit M for your move tool as well. Nice little shortcut. And it looks good, but there's something off about it, right? His text is very, very large. Very large. Top text is always bigger. Bottom text is always smaller. So we're gonna resize our text. And that's gonna be done with our scaling tool right here. You can also hit Shift S if you want. Click on your file there, and we're just gonna bring her up. Not too big. You don't want to make it all distorted. Like, I don't want to go that high, but I think it looks pretty good. Even right there. Yeah, right there. Hit enter. Then we're gonna do the same with thumbnails. Just go down a little bit. Again, not making it distorted. Don't want to make it all like that. You still want to be... You want people to read it. That's the goal. And we're good. I'm going to hit M for move tool. Move it in place. Line them up nicely. I'm going to hit my background layer just so the dotted lines are out of the way. Zoom out. I think that looks pretty solid. And I like this, all right? I like the distance between our two layers there. So I'm actually going to, if I want to move them, I want to move everything together. So I'm going to right click on the top text layer, and I'm going to say merge down. And that makes those two layers the same layer now. So anything I do to those layers, I'll be able to kind of do to both of them at the same time. One thing to keep in mind now is that if I made a spelling mistake, I'm not going to be able to readjust that. I would have to delete Okay, I would have to delete the entire layer and redo it. So make sure before you merge anything, before you even add the bolding to those letters, that you have everything spelled properly and that you have your font colors the way that you want them. Okay, or your text colors. That looks pretty good to me. Good start. Let's go back here. Last thing we need is the foreground image, and he usually just uses a character. Sometimes it'll be the new item, but it's usually just a character. So we're gonna go to Google, and I already typed in what I wanted, but you're just gonna type in Fortnite characters PNG. Make sure you put PNG because that's gonna give you images that have this checkered background behind it, which means if you put it on your image, your thumbnail, you're not gonna have to delete a background on that image. It's just gonna be the character. I'm gonna right click, I'm gonna save image as, we're gonna say, what is it, mogul something? We'll say Alpine Ace female. I know that's not right, but that's fine. You guys understand. See, we downloaded it. We're gonna drag, we're gonna drop, and she's right there already. I'm gonna hit M to move. And then we can kind of adjust as we want now. I'm gonna zoom back into 100%. Shift S for scaling, or you can go to the scaling tool right there. You're gonna hold shifts to scale proportionally. Yeah, we're doing that. Or you could just grab the top here and drag out. But we're gonna just hold shift and move it to where you want the sizing to be. I just hit enter. Pretty good size. I like it. Let's go back to his channel real quick. Look at the overlap that the character has. The character is always the top layer. All right, so the foreground image, it's our top layer. So we need to make sure that our character is on top of that lettering. So we're just gonna grab our files here, our layers here. We're just gonna change the order, just like we did there. So we're gonna make sure we're on our Alpine Ace here, female version. Go to colors, brightness, contrast, and we're gonna adjust our levels real quick. Just so that the character stands out a little bit more. And you can tell the big difference there. That might be too much on the contrast, but you can see the big difference. We're gonna hit OK. I think that looks pretty good. We're gonna go zoom out real quick, hit background. The last thing we need to do, and I might move this around just a little bit here, just kind of make the character on top of the text a little bit more. Last thing we need to do is just add a little bit of shading behind the character. A couple different ways this can be done too. Let's zoom back in. Just gonna take our airbrush tool, change our opacity, change it to 75-ish. Oh, notice how we kind of screwed up here. We need to make sure that we don't have any spaces there. I think that'll be better. You're gonna create a new layer. That layer you can name whatever you want. I'm just gonna leave it as layer, but you can add it as like character shading, character shadow, practice good habits, but make sure that this layer is underneath your Alpine Ace, your character image, and you're just gonna kind of paint behind the image. Just like we're doing here. Don't hold the mouse down for too long, because if you end up making a mistake down the road, like say we do that, it's gonna delete everything that you just did. So every once in a while, let go of the mouse, click it back down. You're just gonna keep painting. Just give it a nice shading. It doesn't have to be perfect. Again, these images, these thumbnails are gonna be very small. So if you make a little bit of a mistake, that's fine. Don't worry about it. You should make these thumbnails in a very short amount of time. Don't spend too much time on them. I would say 10-15 minutes max. All right, 10-15 minutes max. This tutorial might go over that, obviously, but once you get into making these thumbnails, it's gonna go pretty freaking quick. All right, pretty freaking quick. Make sure you get in between the arms, in between the arms. Boom, boom, boom. Wham, bam. Thank you, ma'am. And we're just gonna clean up kind of the rougher edges a little bit. Boom. All right, so it's not perfect. As you get, even if we like zoom in, look how awful that is. But if you zoom out, we go to 25%, much harder to see. We have a nice kind of shadowing behind the character, and that's how you make Nick A30's thumbnail. Now to save it, GIMP's a little different. So you need to save. You can save it as an editable document still. If you go to save as, then you can save your file, hit save. Just as you normally would, put the file where you know you're gonna find it. And then you have to export as, and you're gonna export it as a PNG. The reason you have to export it as a PNG or JPEG, those two files would probably be easiest, is because YouTube doesn't allow the XCF files that GIMP creates. So you gotta export it and export it as a PNG just to be safe, be easy. And that way you can then put it on your videos. To put it on your video, you're gonna go to your YouTube channel. When you download or upload a video, you're gonna get a similar type of thing here, where you're gonna kind of do your description, your titles, your all your tags and stuff. When you first upload, you're gonna have 3 boxes right here. That's where your thumbnail is gonna be. That's where you're gonna be able to upload. But for us, since this is already an uploaded image or a video, you're gonna hit change image and then change your image as you need to find that file that you just created. But that's it, guys. Thank you for watching. Let me know if you have any questions, if you have any troubles with anything. Customize this however you want. Be dynamic. Do whatever you want to do, or use this as a base to build your next thumbnail off of. So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.